Welcome into the Nickel City Crew. I am your host, Rob Griffin. Please like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Nickel City Crew. This episode, along with all of our episodes, are presented by Crippen Legacy Entertainment here on Spreaker. We're so glad that you're joining us for some of your Buffalo Bills and NFL content again today. And as always, these are my Bills thoughts said out loud. All right, let's get straight to it. Man, that was pretty wild yesterday. NFL trade deadline, 4:00 p.m. yesterday on Tuesday. And boy, did we have action around the NFL. I think DT told me pre-show about 10 trades. Normally, the NFL is a slower, kind of a slower burn when it comes to the trade deadline. Not as much action. It's not quite like the NBA where everything's just changing and all these guys are changing uniforms and stuff like that. But yesterday, the NFL kind of channeled its own inner NBA because there were trades and there were a bunch of trades and a bunch of them that we've got to get to. We've got to talk about them because they could be significant. So without any further ado, man, my co-host again tonight, as always, holla at the people, Adam, DT, Dump Truck Rupsick. What's good, man? I just saw you, man. We had a great time. And when DT tells you about the spooktacular, man, y'all need to head out next Halloween, man. Y'all need to head out next Halloween because that was a party. DT, holla at the crew, man. What's good with you, man?
What's up? What's up, Nickel City Crew? How we doing? We're back. It was a nice Halloween weekend. Bills get out of there with a dub. It was good getting Nickel City Crew together. We missed at the game, but we won't let that happen too many more times this year. And but yeah, Saturday night was a good time. Got together. Nickel City Crew. We had some listeners, at the party with us, and carried it in to Sunday. Nice under the lights primetime win for the Bills. Right into this trade deadline. Been a busy week. Solid. Been a little tired, but solid this week.
I've been dragging ass a little bit too, DT. I'll be honest with you because your party was lit and there was a lot of people there. And yes, shout out to all the fans of Nickel City Crew because I really do appreciate it. One of the things that kind of warmed my heart being at your party, DT, was like how many people kept coming up to me telling me, man, we listen to the show, we support the show. I had your brother-in-law asking me for t-shirts, sending me sizes, sending me his address. I'm like, I got you. Like, it was really cool, man. It was really rewarding and kind of gratifying to kind of hear that other people have been kind of tuning in and listening. So what I will say to all of you is you are all official members of the crew now. So please join us for the ride because we are having a blast doing this. And I have been dragging, DT. I have been really tired this week because it was hard. it was a long weekend, man. We were definitely getting it in for sure Saturday night. Then Sunday you got the game and it's a late game. The tailgate starts a little bit early and all that other type of stuff. So listen, I've had a great weekend. Bills did take care of business, DT. You're right. Before we get to the trade deadline, that game was interesting that second half, to be honest, but I kind of put it to the Bills. They were always in control. So I think that because they were always in control, I think they were kind of just trying some shit, to be honest. And they were Josh Allen he doesn't really show us too much sugar high Josh. He does not make too many bad decisions. Obviously that pick in the second half, down there at the end zone was bad. It said that he was looking to throw it away. Didn't get an opportunity to do that. It was picked off. And that other pick was just god awful. And he really doesn't give us too many of those moments anymore. So I'm chalking it up to maybe just a loss of attention span. I don't know what you'll chalk it up to, but man, the whole point is that we got out with the victory, got out with the W. It doesn't matter what it looks like. And I'm really not really too concerned about it going forward, to be honest.
Or double-digit win at home, Rob. Double-digit win at home against the back-to-back MVP in the car on the ride home after the game. And it's literally like the most somber press conferences, somber callers calling in. Pump the brakes here. Pump the brakes, Nickel City Crew. Pump the brakes, Mafia. Like, we're fine. Obviously, a 10-point victory, in control the entire time. You break down these you break down the plays into the second half, and yeah, like you said, they were just trying some shit, getting out there and moving some shit around, and up 17 points. They might have should have run that. They ran
Yeah,
3 pass plays in a row to kind of
yeah,
stall that drive, and
yeah.
credit to the Packers for not giving in that early, even though it looked like they were giving in by running the ball down
Running the ball,
17 for
thank you.
overtime. But
We were all looking at
yeah, it
each
was
other in the
crazy.
stadium like,
But
what the hell are they doing?
and that's I think a lot of explanation to if people are saying there's any concern about the run defense. I mean,
You're not
we
paying
weren't
attention.
anticipating them.
You're
Yeah,
not paying
weren't
attention.
anticipating them.
We didn't bring
So
anybody else down in the
yeah,
box. You're not paying attention if
no,
you think that the Bills' run defense is broken. They are not
yeah.
paying attention. We
So
refused. Leslie
that's
Frazier refused to bring it
nothing to
down.
worry about. Nothing to worry about. 10-point victory. Could have easily been a lot more. And, I think the team took it personal. Josh Allen definitely took it personal. So you don't want to be like we talked about, a couple weeks ago in the Chiefs game, like a couple plays to perfection. This game was right there with that. And so once this team starts getting those couple plays, they're going to start playing perfect games. And, these
Watch
are going to
out.
be some big, 50, 60 burgers. We might see some spreads like college out there when Bama and Georgia are playing every week, with spreads
Yeah,
like that. And,
yeah. Against Middle
17 of the boys
Tennessee.
are close to that. So, yeah, let's go. They
Yeah,
know they're
let's
playing the
go.
Lions. So
Yeah,
it's
let's go.
they'll be fine. We'll take that under the lights prime time, back-to-back MVP. Good game all the way around. Got out of there decently healthy. I know Poyer got a little banged up, but
Mhm.
overall, solid, good team win at home. How'd you feel about the energy in there Sunday, Rob? I'd say it was pretty medium. Beginning was lit. We
Yeah,
were
the beginning
when the
was
lights
lit.
came off.
Yeah,
But throughout the whole game, and maybe that was just the play of the game, but definitely has been louder. Definitely
it was
wasn't the
boring. I
quietest
mean, it
I've
was
ever
boring.
heard.
That
But
second
yeah,
half was boring.
it was a light. It was light in there.
Yeah, there's no way around it. The second half was boring. I saw way more Green Bay fans than I anticipated. I know that they travel well. I was out Saturday, and I saw a bunch of them, and then I saw some more Sunday at Duff's early in the afternoon before the 1 o'clock game. So they were here in Western New York, and they were obviously felt in the stadium because they were you could see that green and yellow, but it was a little bit more of a more subdued game. The crowd got hyped obviously for Josh Allen and the offense. They introduced the offense this week, and we turned down the lights, and that was kind of cool to look at. You see all the little flash bulbs from everybody's camera lit up, and that was kind of cool. But other than that, yeah, it was a little bit more of a. I think the second half kind of sucked everything out of the
Yeah,
fans in that respect because it was just boring. We were in control of the game. We weren't really doing much in respects to the second half scoring. And then again, the Packers kind of played into it by just running the ball and would not stop running the ball and burning the clock on themselves in that third quarter. It was the weirdest shit I've ever seen.
yeah.
Everybody in my section 104 were all looking at each other like, what in the ham sandwiches, my father said, are they doing it? Like it was, somebody told me that they were trying to get like a moral victory and make it look better. That's really pathetic if that's what Matt LaFleur
No,
decided to
come
do.
on.
Like, if that's what you're doing,
And
like, come on,
yeah,
man. Like, really?
and we
You're
talked
trying to just
about
bleed the
Rodgers
clock
being
on
a
yourself?
prick last week. He's not going to stand for that either. They're going out there. We'll get a moral victory rush for 150 yards. Nah, dude. They were going for that win and just got outmanned, outmatched, and they're not the only ones and won't be going
Yeah.
up against 17 and the boys. So
Yeah,
it's
we'll
what it is.
see. NFL trade deadline yesterday, DT. It was a lot of action. Before we go around the league, let's take care of our business at home. The Bills made two transactions on yesterday. We brought back Dean Marlowe, who the Bills fans will be familiar with. Definitely McDermott and then Bean are familiar with. They were with him in Carolina. He followed them to Buffalo for a few years and was, part of the safety rotation and kind of some of that depth on the back end. We bring him back from the Falcons for, I think it was a 7th-round pick. So that was not any type of investment that was, too rich or too sweet for our blood or anything like that. So we bring Dean Marlowe back. Again, you mentioned Poyer, not exactly sure what his injury status is. He did not go on IR. I heard Sal Capaccio talk about that on GR this week. And he's
Day to day.
absolutely right. Yeah.
Day to day.
And that's a good sign. If they would have put him on IR, then I would have been a little bit more concerned about the Dean Marlowe move and what does that mean for the future of the team, things like that. I think that Poirier will be okay. I would assume to see him out there against the Jets. And I think that the Marlowe ad was just literally about depth. He's been banged up a few times this year. We've got those young guys back there in Hamlin and Jaquan Johnson that are doing their best. And Hamlin made a couple great plays that I noticed in the stadium on Sunday night. But it's never too bad to have any type of depth and help as you're trying to go on this journey to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, and you look at these, the way the DeMarlo comes in from Carolina to the Bills.
Mhm.
That's been a big story the whole time in the McDermott and Bean era of
Yep.
these players coming over and having that connection. And these guys are going for a Super Bowl. And as you look at, coming in on when Nyheim Hines coming in as James Cook maybe not ready to be that second go-to guy for this Super Bowl run. We want him in the organization, but maybe not ready right, at this second. So we need a guy like Nyheim Hines. And then DeMarlo, they're only bringing him in if they think he can help us win the Super Bowl. So
Mhm.
with that, there might be some underrated play when he left Buffalo that when he gets back in a scheme where he's comfortable with back with McDermott, he might make a splash and make some plays. So they aren't making these moves just to make them. They're
Mm-mm.
making these moves to bring these guys in to help us win the bowl, and I'm excited because we're confident in Bean from what he's done in the past couple of years. He doesn't miss a lot, and bringing somebody familiar that he knows, thinking he can come in and make a difference on this team, I think it is a huge testament to the especially the DeMarlo side of it.
Yeah, and you've already mentioned it. You stole my thunder. The Bills, the other transaction that they made was trading for running back Nyheim Hines out of Indianapolis. They trade Zach Moss, a conditional 6th-round pick. I think it can bump up based on playing time and what what Zach does for the Colts. Listen, they have kind of laid out the cards. The Bills were laying out their cards way back in the offseason when they were trying to get JD McKissick. They thought they had a deal, and then he reneges on the deal and he goes back to Washington. Obviously they talked about when McCaffrey rumors were around that the Bills were in on it. They said the same thing about Kamara. They clearly are looking for a pass catching back. They are looking for one. Now, you spent a 2nd-round pick on James Cook to be that, but kind of you just alluded to it, to be honest, DT. You stole my thunder, man. I don't know if they are trustworthy of him. They don't think that he's quite ready to do it. And because of that, they make this move. They go get a guy that, listen, he's not going to come in here and set the world on fire or anything like that. So Bills fans who think that he is, set your expectations. This guy is a great punt returner. It looks like he probably will just go ahead and assume those duties right off the bat because they said that he's going to get a jersey this week. So I expect to see him back there fielding punts. He's a good punt returner. He has been throughout his entire career. And then pass catching is what he does. That's one of the biggest things for him out of the backfield. He knows how to catch the ball. He's been good at it. He hasn't been, exceptional at it, but he's been very serviceable at it. And I think this is a situation where they are just trying to make sure that every T is crossed, every I is dotted before they make this big journey and this big stretch run now that we're post by. I like the move. It's not earth shattering or anything like that. Give me your ideas on it, DT, because on face value, it looks like, well, a receiving back. I thought we drafted James Cook. I've heard a lot of that this week. I don't think that they are ready for James Cook to assume the responsibilities that they need, blitz pickup, different things like that on 3rd down. And I think that they just feel more comfortable with a guy like Nyheim Hines back there who's done it, been in that situation. And I think that this is all just pointing to the fact that we are gearing up for this run. We are gearing up. You looked around the league, and we'll get ready to talk about some of the trades that have happened. And it looks like they're just geared. They're just making sure everything is buttoned up.
Yeah, and with that, I didn't mean to steal your thunder there, Rob. I was just setting up the Super Bowl, the run to give Dean Marlowe credit. Like they're not just bringing this guy in to bring him in,
No.
and
Mm-mm.
same with Nyheim Hines, and that's I don't think it's anything against James Cook by any means. It's just they got to win a Super Bowl. How many rookies, are a crucial part in that? It's hard to be a player in this league, and they see a future in him. I really do believe that, and more than just a pass catching back. He's going to hit the whole hard. He was hitting the whole hard on Sunday. I really like what I saw out of James Cook on
Mm-hmm.
Sunday too.
Yes.
So
Yes.
James Cook's going to give us a little more hybrid role. Nyheim Hines a little more straight up with the pass catching and, like you said, with the punt returning and the kick returning. He's going to be great on the team today. I heard a report they ran a play with him in practice, and Josh turns and goes over to Diggs, and he's like, "Man, this dude's fast. Like this
Yeah.
dude's quick.
Mm-hmm.
He can get around, and he's a scat guy." So nothing out of James Cook, but yeah, we're gearing up for the Super Bowl run. And the biggest thing I think on the other side of this, Rob, is 20's walking for nothing. Zach Moss. So even though Naeem Hines is going to be wearing 20 on this side, but Zach Moss is walking, and you and I were, and a lot of Bills Mafia and Nickel City crew were getting sick of that guy. So he's gone, and we get a lot nice, crucial playmaker, I think, to come in and fill a good role for this team.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that Zach does well, and I hope that his career he stays healthy and he does good things out there in Indianapolis. But it just wasn't quite. It was just crowded, man. It wasn't quite a fit. And he didn't bring what I thought he was going to bring. I thought he was going to be kind of like a rolling bowling ball with razor blades. I thought he was just going to literally just be trucking people and going through people and making, like he said, make people make business decisions, different things like that. I didn't see really much of it. I know he had a bad game against the Patriots last year where he was missing some reads and different things like that. Listen, I like the fact that they got faster. Speed kills in this league. I'm down with speed. I understand that you need that power back and things like that. I'm not really worried about it because of the fact that Josh Allen in those short yard situations, he's still young enough that we can run him if we need to. Now, I know that we don't want to put everything on Josh's back, but you're absolutely right. Cook looked okay on Sunday. This is obviously his best game as a pro. I love that. Obviously, that catch in the fourth quarter, that was beautiful, and he shows his speed. I think it's a situation where you can't have enough speed, DT. That's really the point. You can't have enough speed on a team. Speed kills. We know that from the Chiefs. We know that from obviously what we're seeing with the Dolphins and what they're doing with their dynamic wide receivers out there on the outside edges. So listen, you bring in somebody who's fast. He can return punts. He's going to be smart. He's going to help in blitz pickup on third downs when you put him in those situations. He's not going to make mental mistakes is what we're hoping for. He picks up the offense. I know it's a nuanced offense, but he finds a way to get in the offense and maybe get a couple packages for him. I'm excited about the prospects of it. It's not a world beater. This is not McCaffrey. This is not Kamara, but I think it's a situation where the Bills, again, they just added a little bit more, just a little bit more juice. And how could you be a Bills fan and be mad about getting more juice? I'm down with it. I am down with that.
Makes perfect sense for the Bills and Bean, and doesn't make a lot of sense for the Colts. I'm surprised they really did this. They get what was it? It was a sixth, right? They get
Conditional six.
obviously
Yep.
building some, and there's Hall of Famers that come out of the six. We all know that, but a conditional six, and
Zach
you lose
Moss.
like your true second guy. You lose your true second guy and give him to the best offense in the NFL. So it did make a ton of sense. I thought from the Colts standpoint, I love it for the Bills. Easy money, upgrading for free. It's like trading in a car for what you bought it for, Rob. So
Yeah.
I like it all, and getting back a nice investment, and I think he's going to be a crucial point to this offense right away.
Yeah. Now, as we look around the league and see some of these trades from yesterday, there was again quite a few of them. I know the Commanders got a cornerback. They traded, excuse me, a cornerback, William Jackson, to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's been having some tough time with their cornerback depth and keeping everybody healthy. There's some other trades in there. Calvin Ridley, I saw it. I didn't even notice it yesterday that he was traded from the Falcons over to the Jaguars. He's serving that 1-year suspension again for betting on football. So he's done for this year, but he'll be obviously a member of the Jacksonville Jaguars next year. There was a couple other smaller ones. The big one that we've got to talk about, and it definitely is pertinent to the Buffalo Bills, the Miami Dolphins, DT, okay? They are definitely pushing all of their chips in, okay? It is very clear that they're getting ready to do kind of a reverse Ram. They looks like they're trying to act like the Rams, like they've got everything on the table for this year. Now, I don't know if that's going to work for them, but listen, they trade for Bradley Chubb. Now, Bradley Chubb, if you don't know, outside linebacker for the Denver Broncos, was a stud in college. The problem with him is that he has not stayed on the field. So the Dolphins are taking a little bit of a risk here to me, if you ask me about it, because of the fact that I'm not sure about his health. I'm not sure about how much of an impact he can make if he is on the field, but I do know that he's a damn good edge rusher. What do you think about Bradley Chubb going to the Dolphins? He's right here in the division now. How do you think that shapes up and gives them their chances of obviously going ahead and competing with the Bills in this division?
A true gamble, you're right there, but it's a little concerning as a Bills fan watching that first Miami game. The biggest thing that stuck out was pressure.
Mm-hmm.
They rattled 17 and got him off his
Mm-hmm.
game, and that was a true testament down the stretch of why they won that game. They were in his face from start to finish, and
Yeah.
you add a prolific top edge rusher to that defense. It's a little concerning. I like that they already got theirs on us, and they come back to Buffalo late in the year, and it's going to be really tough to beat the Mafia at that point. But it's concerning overall, the pressure they brought in that Bills game, and then they add one of the best rushers, but he's got to stay healthy. The all-in mentality, I'm not too concerned about it, but that would be, it's a prolific thing for sure. We got to keep an eye on, and they're on a little bit of a roll. They got an easy game this week against the Bears, so they could get rolling and be right there. And I don't know if you want to play them again in the playoffs. Not say again they're a better team by any means, but limit the times you got to face that pass rush.
Yeah, I mean, Jalen Phillips is a great, linebacker for them, and he's having a breakout season. And now you had Chubb on the other side. Like that could be something to be reckoned with. And you're absolutely right. You hit it on the head. The reason that we lost that game, besides the sun, I joke around and say that the only reason that we lost was Mother Nature. But when it came to the field, they blitzed the hell out of the Bills, and they were on it, Josh Allen all day. The offensive line had a lot of problems that day with the pressure, and I really feel like this could be a move if he stays healthy. Obviously, with that caveat, this could kind of be a little bit of a game changer. If he's on the field and being kind of a wrecking ball and being, affecting the game with coming off the edge, it could be a situation where we have to kind of keep our eyes on them. We already know that they've got a great offense. We know that now at this point, a healthy Tua changes that offense dynamically. It changes everything about them. I know that we like to give Tua shit and things like that. He really has kind of proved that, listen, if he's healthy, if his head is in the right space and he's got no cobwebs, he's going to put the ball. I mean, he throws a pretty ball. I mean, now, some people don't like him. I understand. I'm not the biggest fan of him in that respect. I don't give him too much praise, but it's hard to really ignore what he's done this year with those two receivers. They are really, really chewing up yards on the offensive side of the ball. If the defense was one of their weak spots, they definitely addressed it and they got a little bit stronger. So I'm going to be paying attention to them now because of the fact that Bradley Chubb, he kind of changes the equation just a little bit. He does for me.
One of Tua's biggest strengths is he's on his rookie contract, Rob.
Right.
So you were in the Rams kind of philosophy of win now. They're not going to be able to pay all these guys. So it's a situation where they are going all in a way, and I hope Chubb gets his work in on anybody but the Bills. So
yeah, absolutely. Now we saw some more trades yesterday. Chase Claypool was traded from the Steelers to the Bears. He's kind of been a little bit of a malcontent there in Pittsburgh. They've been kind of some rumblings that he doesn't really.
Yeah.
He doesn't
Another
really
one
do
I don't get there, I don't get. I mean, it's obviously wasn't working out in Pittsburgh, but for the Bears, you trade away your two best players and you're looking to gain assets and look to rebuild, and then you go and give a second round pick for a mediocre Chase Claypool. So
that was interesting.
that was another head scratcher.
It seems like with Roquan Smith leaving, and then obviously the other trade that they traded with Robert Quinn.
Yeah.
It seems like they're kind of tearing it down over there, and I don't know if that's necessarily the case, but it seems like the Bears are kind of hitting a reset button, and they're really already in the middle of a reset, already in the middle of a rebuild with Justin Fields. So it was a little bit interesting to see that one, but I do like the fact that they're trying to get him a little bit of help out there for Fields, but we'll see how it works out. The Lions make a trade. They go ahead and trade away their best offensive player. That was, odd as well to see. TJ Hawkinson goes from the Lions to the Minnesota Vikings. It was for a 2023, fourth round pick and a fourth round conditional pick in 2024. The Lions get a second round pick in next year's draft and a 2024 third round pick. I'm a little bit surprised when I saw this one come through. I think it might just be the divisional thing. You know what I mean? Like, why would you give one of your division rivals a weapon? The Lions, man, they just cannot get right every single season. It seems like they just can't. They can't catch a break. They were on Hard Knocks. They had a nice little hype coming into the season. You know what I mean? Everybody's kind of liking them, and they just cannot win. They can't win close games. It doesn't seem like they win close games. They got blown out and shut out against the Patriots. And last week was another. There was a close game against the Dolphins, and they lose again. I don't know, man, what they're doing, but they traded away their best offensive weapon. That's hands down.
He's nice in Division II, and on a 6-1 Minnesota Vikings team, and they're coming to Buffalo in a few weeks. So that's big for them, especially with it's locked up. You're not gonna make a run into the division if you're Detroit, and so to give the team that's probably going to win the division one of your best players is pretty baffling. But it's a fine line of intensity and intensity and corniness when it comes to the Lions, right? Like, because you like that in football, you like Dan Campbell and the
Right.
grit and
Biting
the
kneecaps.
heart of football, but
Yeah.
it's the NFL at the end of the day. And if you're going to do all that and then go 1-6 and kind of like the Russell Wilson theory, right?
Right.
You're going to be the corny guy and then go 2-5. Like, people are going to come at you quick. And it just shows the
That's
Lions
true.
might be already getting, even though they got guys and they got a new path, it looks like they might be going towards a rebuild again with
That's
getting rid of one of
crazy.
their best players. So
That's crazy.
that's interesting to see. And, kind of it goes full circle of the rah-rah can only get you so far. You still
It
need
really
that, but
can.
I think that's more comes from the players at this point in the NFL as
Mhm.
opposed to high school and college. It might
College,
come a
yeah.
little more from the coaches, So, nothing against, this isn't an attack at Dan Campbell by any means, but just the way in general, the Lions in general, just their vibe of like, they're just never going to be good, Rob. They're just never going to be good.
It's crazy. Yeah. I was interested. It was an interesting move when I saw it. Like I said, it kind of caught my eye because of the fact that it was in division, and I was just wondering what they're doing. But again, they're 1-6. Maybe they didn't think that they were going to be paying this guy premium tight end money when his deal comes up. And they cut bait. So hey, that is what it is. Now another AFC team got good. We did beat them, but we beat them barely. The Baltimore Ravens, DT, they get Roquan Smith, the NFL's leading tackler. He is a machine, highly recruited, great college career there at Georgia, and he is a stud. And he's going to a team with the Ravens that we already know everything that they're about on defense. They've had some struggles on that side of the ball this year, and I don't know how you get worse with Roquan Smith. I mean, that he is a stud. Patrick Queen out there at linebacker, some of those other guys back there. I like this move for the Ravens. I really do. You can kind of tell that I do like the Ravens, and I like their direction. I like their coach, all that type of stuff. They've been battling these injuries the last couple of years. That I don't know how big of a deal that is, but that cannot hurt them. That cannot hurt them.
Not at all, not at all. And I'm glad Roquan Smith got out of Chicago because I love watching him play too. Even from Georgia into the league, and if the Bills could have got him, that would have been crazy. I thought in that draft, and he's done nothing but impress in his years in the league. So don't like him going to a contender, somebody we might see in the playoffs because he can ball out, and I don't want him ever hitting 17. So, but on the other side of that defense is in rough shape, Rob. So yes, that helps a lot, but I don't know if it's if it
Move the
comes to a
needle.
point of them, moving the needle as much, but definitely someone to game plan for. I like him, and good for him. Good for going to a team where he's going to get a little more respect and be in the spotlight a little more, which he deserves to be.
Yeah, man, that it'll be interesting to see for sure because you're absolutely right. I like watching him play. He flies around the ball. He commands attention. He gets off of blocks. He's always shedding blocks and getting to the football, clearly leading the league in tackles. So it'll be interesting to see what he adds to that defense. They have been in a little bit of a rough shape, but we'll see. You do not get worse adding a stud like that on your team. So we'll see, and we'll keep our eye on them. Now, we got to keep an eye on, the team that we all care about the most, that we're always worried about. I know we took care of those demons a couple weeks ago, but it was regular season. It was not playoffs. Kadarius Toney leaves the Giants. He goes to the Chiefs. Listen, I was talking with some Chiefs fans today. They are excited about it. I think that they're a little bit delusional, but they are excited about the addition. What I will give them is that Andy Reid and that team never stops adding talent. They never stop adding talent, and they definitely never stop adding it on the offensive side of the football. It's another weapon for Patrick Mahomes to have. I don't know what it's going to mean. He has not been on the field that much. That's really been the main problem with him in New York, was that he was not on the field. What do you think about Kadarius Toney? He is fast for sure. He makes guys miss in the open field for sure. You cannot take that away from him. I'm just not sure if it's going to mean much if he's not playing. Obviously, they traded for him. They gave up, a third-round pick for him and a sixth-round pick. So they do have obviously plans for him. But talk to me about what you think that trade could do, because it was an interesting trade. They got him. He's fast. They've got receivers now. They've got a whole bunch.
You said it best, Rob. They always add talent, no matter what year, wherever it is. They're always adding talent, and you're just kind of on your edge of the seat to see, is this guy about to blow up? Is this guy about to blow up? Sky Moore they draft this year. Is this guy, going to be a crazy fast guy? Isaiah Pacheco, is he going to be a
Yeah.
crazy fast scat back?
MVS,
Like you're
Juju.
just waiting for him. You're just waiting
Yep.
for him to blow up and have an electric game. So with some guys not playing up to that level this year, well, MVS and Macaulay Hardman kind of having some more of I'd say a downside year, bringing Kadarius Toney to kind of fill that spot of having that pop. It's a scary thing for sure. And Andy Reid knows how to do it best with the second best quarterback in the league, and he knows how to get it to these guys too. So if he's on the field, that Kansas City boogeyman factor of on your edge of your seat, of which one of these guys is going to blow up just because they're in this Kansas City offense and system, and he definitely has the weapons to do that. But everyone's got to get better. The Bills got better on the trade deadline, and a lot of other teams did. So we gotta hang true to that and realize that everyone's got to get better, and that's what the trade deadline's for. So bring it on.
Yeah, bring it on is right. I mean, I'm not hiding from him. Like I said, the boogeyman's not real anymore. So I know that. I feel confident with that. My closet, you can close the door at nighttime. You can turn off all the lights. I know the boogeyman is not real. However, I do not like seeing Kansas City get more weapons. That part does concern me in the respects of the fact that they will not stop adding things to the offense. And that's a sign of a good team. It's a sign of a team that knows their personnel and knows what's important in this league. In this league now, this passing league, it is important to put up points. Yes, defense is important, but boy, you won't even get a chance to have the defense on the field and to say, oh, defense wins championships if you do not have an offense. If you don't, you are not going to be in the party. And that's just the way that it goes. So Kansas City knows the formula. They put up points and they add another weapon. So we'll see. Now, even shifting to the NFC a little bit, Robert Quinn, we talked about it. We just touched it a little bit, but, that's a big-time name, big-time pass rusher. He goes from the Bears, who are kind of in a fire sale mode, it seems like, and goes to the undefeated Eagles. Now, the Eagles fans, first of all, are getting on my damn nerves. That now they were at the barbershop the other day. I mean, they're all over. They're getting on my nerves. They are rather annoying right now. However, this doesn't hurt what they've got going on either, DT. So I know we don't project too much. We worry about the conference, but man, on the NFC side, the rich literally get richer in respects to the fact that the Eagles have a horrible schedule. So they've got a nice easy schedule. They're going to rack up wins all season long. They might do some crazy 15-2 or 14-3 for sure. I could definitely see that as a possibility because their schedule is so damn weak. They got Robert Quinn. That could be a big deal when it comes playoff time. Maybe not, week 11 or week 12, but when the lights are on, I would like to have a stud back there rushing the passer because I know what it feels like having Von Miller on our side. That speak to it because that the rich kind of got richer on that
D-line.
one. Yeah,
on a loaded D-line, and Bird Nation over there. They're happy for that. I mean, that's a stacked defensive line with Fletcher Cox and the rookie
Jordan
from
Davis.
Bama. What's his
Jordan
Davis,
man.
big boy.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of people to block, and you bring in Robert Quinn, who's proven through and through. And I like the offense, the way they're kind of moving and taking advantage of the playmakers they have, and they're quick in every area. They're one of the fastest teams in the NFL, and they're going to stack up wins. They got Houston this week. They're a 14-point favorite, just like double-digit favorite, just like the Bills. And my roommate's a big Eagles fan. I think you met him on
I did.
Saturday. So we obviously he's already stacking wins, and the schedule is easy. It's going to be there, and you imagine Bills Eagles Super Bowl. That's some rowdiness coming together right there.
That is really
nobody's safe. Nobody's safe there.
No, man, that would be crazy.
Stuff.
They might tear down Scottsdale or wherever they go, Phoenix, wherever the game is. Yeah, absolutely. Arizona would definitely be on fire because those are two fan bases that love their squads, and it'll be interesting to see because again, I don't try to project too much into the future, but boy, I am watching those guys out west on the NFC side of the conference because it is I don't know, they're undefeated. So I mean, I could see them stacking up a ton of wins this year. So we'll see. It looks like they have the inside track for the number one seed. Now we'll quickly touch that McCaffrey trade. Kind of looked good on last Sunday. McCaffrey, I think, becomes like the first guy since like 2005 or something like that to throw a touchdown pass, run a touchdown run, and catch a touchdown pass. So that was pretty cool to see the highlights on that. He goes from the Panthers to the Niners. Obviously, they make them better. the 49ers are a team that I'm most worried about on the NFC side when I really think about it because of their defense. And I think how well-rounded they are in respects to how they do on offense and how they can run the ball, how they can kind of manage the game with Jimmy G. Now you add a piece like CMC, like that could be a big deal for them out in the NFC.
And we talked about it all this trade deadline of everyone that got traded. A lot of them had, injury gambles. And that's the same with CMC more than anybody. It's a gamble if he's out there. He misses a lot of time, but when he's out there, he's one of the best and fits into that offense great. And on top of
That's
that,
perfect.
pretty stingy defense coming around. Garoppolo's been there, and the 49ers are always there. They always are. I love him from my fantasy team as long as he's on. He had a passing touchdown, receiving touchdown, and a rushing touchdown on Sunday. So that was nice for me. But looks good in that uniform too. I don't know, that red pops on
Yeah.
23 there. I like it. I
He's a
like watching
Cali
him
boy,
play. But
man. Yeah, he's a
yeah,
Cali
I
boy
would
back home.
definitely I would put them over the Eagles if I'm concerned about playing, in the bowl because they just have a well-rounded team and Garoppolo has that experience. But CMC's nice, man. But it's the gamble of staying on the field, and that's why a lot of these guys are probably dealt because it is a gamble, and you can get them for a little cheaper than if they were 100% healthy all the time. So, that's the trade deadline for you, and who pans out and who gets that next contract with their next team. But CMC's nice.
Yeah, he is. So you're absolutely right. He fits in perfectly with them. And Shanahan is obviously a master play caller. So he loves running the ball and he loves scheming up, Debo and those guys. So this is just another weapon and another tool for them to use. So I'll be watching for sure the Eagles and the 49ers out in the NFC. I think that both of those teams look like they could be representing the NFC in the Super Bowl. And we'll see how it all works out with the rest of these games. Now, shifting gears to Sunday, man. I mean, on the road, we're going to place the Jets. We normally make fun of them. We normally talk about how crappy they are. They have actually gotten their stuff together. Now, we alluded to this in the offseason, right around the draft time, when they did their draft, and they really did ace their draft, and it looked like it. Now, we don't know the projections of the guys, 3 years down the road when it's really you should evaluate a draft. But what it looked like on paper was that they kind of hit on those guys. And boy, the early dividends are showing that, like, yes, they did. Sauce Gardner looks like a monster out there. Excuse me. He looks completely the part, everything that he's been built up to be. And the defense looks okay. The problem is that their offense is garbage and they don't do anything on offense, and their quarterback hurts them. How do you feel about this matchup as we get ready to go to MetLife Stadium and play the 5-3 second place New York Jets? I did not think I was going to be saying that at the start of the season, that they would be in second place. They're winning games, DT. I mean, I don't, I can't quite put my finger on it, but they are winning games. They lost the opener. They win a close game against the Browns. Then they fall to the Bengals, and then it's 4 straight wins before last week's loss to the Patriots. They beat the Steelers in a close game. They blow out the Dolphins, which was weird. They beat the Packers in Lambeau, which was ultra weird to see on TV. And then they just finished up with the Broncos win, and then they lost, obviously, a close game to the Patriots that really Zach Wilson lost for them with all of his turnovers. Talk to me about the Jets, man. They're a weird team. They're 5-3. You can't take their record away. I mean, I'm intrigued by them because I thought that they were on the right track with their management, with their GM and their coach. I mean, I don't know what to expect Sunday other than the fact that the Bills are going to get in Zach Wilson's ass. To be honest, that's pretty much what I expect.
Well, Rob, they're 5-3 right now. If they were 3-5 at the bottom of this division, it's probably still a 12-point spread. Bills going in there, up a double-digit spread, right? So
Right.
the fact that at home, you're 5-3 at home and a double-digit underdog to rightfully so the best team in the NFL. So that's how I'm kind of looking at it. Like, yeah, credit to them playing better. They got some talent, but they're still got to play the best team in the league. And with that, they haven't found. I don't think they found their identity yet.
Mm-mm,
Brees
mm-mm.
Hall, beginning of the year was nice for them. I was definitely nervous that he's next year going to be back and he's going to be good for the Jets for a long time. And that was kind of what they wanted their identity to be. That fast running offense, and that's what they did. Zach Wilson was throwing for 100 yards a game,
Right.
and they were running the piss out of the ball. He
Right.
goes down. They kind of panic Sunday against the Patriots and try to throw it all over the yard. And granted, he had 350 yards, but
What did it matter,
three
man? He
picks,
killed his
and yeah,
team. Yeah, what did it matter? He killed them.
ruined them in regards. So the Bills aren't going to let them have 355 yards, and they don't know if they can be a running team. They definitely can't be a passing team. Defensively, going to be real tough for them. Even though with that stingy, they have been holding some teams to decent, lower points. Nobody's
Yeah.
really ran out the gym on them. So, but too many guys to guard for this Bills offense. So credit to the Jets, sure, but not too much. They're still double-digit underdogs. No identity. Zach Wilson scares me. 32 out of 32 NFL quarterbacks. I'd rather play him than anybody, I think.
Yeah. He
He's
looks lost.
completely
He
incompetent,
looks
it looks
lost.
at. So with some pass rush from this tough pass rush to our DBs, kind of playing that contain, nothing behind them. They got some playmakers on the receiving core that, are going to have some catches, but not worried about them moving the ball too deep. And, on the other end of it, it's going to be a massacre. So.
Yeah, it could be. It could get ugly. Listen, sometimes when they see those big spreads, I stay away from for sure. When it comes to gambling and things like that, I stay away. I get a little bit scared when I see the huge spreads, or I'll lean towards the underdog. In this case, I really do. I don't know what the Jets can do against Buffalo that can be successful besides running the ball. Now, listen, it's not the same situation like we're paying Aaron Rodgers. Leslie Frazier deliberately did not bring an extra man down into the box. So again, for those of you that have been I saw it on Twitter and the Bills run defense, and then I heard it on GR when I was driving back to Charlotte, and the Bills, they gave up all the. Listen, they played 6-man light boxes all game long, and it was on
Aaron
purpose.
Jones had 140 yards and they had 10 points on the board.
Exactly.
So whatever. Yeah.
They were, but the whole point is that they were not flooding the box. They did not commit that safety down. It was on purpose to keep Aaron Rodgers under wraps, to make sure that he didn't make any, spectacular plays over the top and things like that. And he still had that nice pass to Romeo Doubs, which was just a perfect dime. So the Bills are not going to be taking that same approach, in my opinion, for the Jets. They don't respect Zach Wilson the same. It is not the same type of quarterback, not the same type of offense, regardless of the injuries that Green Bay went through. They'll have less respect for the Jets offense than they did for Green Bay. I expect them to stack the box. I expect them to force Zach Wilson to throw it, because they know that good things can happen when that guy sits back there and thinks that he's Josh Allen. I saw a funny thing on Twitter. It was like a little running thing of like Zach Wilson highlights, like 3, 4, 5 plays. And it's like, and the caption was, Zach Wilson thinks he's Josh Allen, but he's not. You know what I mean? And he's running around and he's doing shit and he's trying to extend plays, and then he makes bad decisions. There's no really way to sugarcoat it. He makes some horrible decisions that put his team in bad situations, man.
And this is the worst defense to do that against. They'll pick and Floyd. They're not going to overpower you, but they're going to outsmart you and out-scheme you, and they fly around. And Milano and Edmonds are going to be a catalyst of that. We already know what this defensive line can do, and up in there, I expect a pick from both of them, Milano and Edmonds. I don't even think it's getting to the defensive backs. I like early and often picks in the middle. So it can't overlook them, but this team isn't about overlooking anybody. Each week's a different week. Each week's a game plan, and I kind of like that they're 5-3 and got a little swagger about them to give the Bills a little more of an edge. Like, okay, now let's really kill these dudes and bring them back to earth, as opposed to we got to get up for the Jets. We got to get up for the Jets.
Right.
Nah, they think they're good. Let's good. Yeah. So
yeah, I like that. I like that take, because of the fact that I just see the game ending in a bad fashion if Zach Wilson has to throw the ball. So I think that Buffalo's defense, Leslie Frazier, Sean McDermott, they're going to try to find a way to force this guy to be a quarterback, force him to make plays with his legs, make plays with his arm, and I just don't think he's up for the task. I really don't. So I expect
in other games, Rob, we say what is the worst case scenario? If Bills have some breakdowns against some of these good quarterbacks, they score 24, 21, and the Bills are going to get 30. What's worst case scenario with Zach Wilson, So that's even worse, in my eyes. I don't know. I just don't see, even worst case scenario is still so far from beating the Bills.
Yeah, it would have to be a complete collapse on the offense's part. It'd have to be something similar to Jacksonville, where the offense just doesn't come to work that day. I do not see that happening. Nyheim Hines in the lineup, getting a chance to get some run this week, so there'll be some extra juice. I expect a good performance by the Bills, who, again, they listen to. Don't forget, Nickel City Crew. Don't forget Bills Mafia. These guys are human. They hear they listen. You know what I mean? Now that they love to say that they don't, but they have family, they have friends, they have people that are in their ear letting them know about what's going on. So all these people talking shit about the Bills' run defense, they're listening to that. They know that they didn't commit, a lot of guys in the box. They know what happened on Sunday. And listen, it is what it is, man. Von Miller had one of the funniest lines when he told the press conference that he said that he was asking Aaron Rodgers, like, don't y'all got to throw it here soon, don't y'all? Like, I was dying laughing because that was literally the sentiment of everybody. It seemed like in my section 104, we were all looking at each other like, so they're just going to run the clock. And there was no urgency, no nothing. So it was funny to see. The Bills defense heard all of the critics from this last week. Anybody that's been talking shit about them, they have listened to it. And I expect a great performance on Sunday. So it'll be fun. Now, we've got an away game. So please join us as we wrap up. We have an away game. I know that me and DT missed out on last week, but that's because we were, in the stadium itself. Join us, the Nickel City Crew post-game show. I can't wait for it because it's been so fun, to be honest, DT. It's been fun, and I've got to figure out how to get that what's it called, the communication thing where they can just text right in, and I want all of Nickel City Crew on there. Please join us on YouTube on Sunday afternoon. You can expect us right around that 4:30 hour. We will be there ready to break down this game and kind of talk about a Bills victory, hopefully, as well. So join us on Sunday after the game. We will do the Nickel City Crew post-game show. Can't wait for it. I've just had a tough time getting this week started, DT. So I can't wait. Yeah, man. We got the hump day today. I'm hoping to get some good rest tonight. Football, we got football practice for my boys. It's playoff week, so the intensity's been ramped. Yeah, nice. The intensity's been ramped up at practice. I'm yelling at every kid moving and letting them know, like, let's get to your assignments. Let's do the things that we got to do so we can get this win on Saturday. So I'm excited for this weekend. Can't wait. Please, again, join us for the Nickel City Crew post-game show after the conclusion of the game on Sunday. DT, man, I don't see a way that the Jets get a win, man. I don't know a way I can formulate in my head. I just can't get there.
Yeah, I agree. You look at worst case scenarios and you can't find it. It's going to be a nice weekend. Can't wait to kind of hit the reset. As you said, tough start button all week.
Yeah.
Hit the reset button, take it easy through the weekend. And let's get on the post game and talk about a nice dub on the road, getting ready to face probably another 7-1 versus 7-1 Vikings versus Bills next week. So until we get there, let's handle business.
Let's handle business, man. Well, as always, please spread love, not hate. These were my Bills thoughts said out loud. As always, hit them with a go Bills, DT. Hit them, please hit them.
Go Bills. Go Bills.
Right.